With us right now, Courtney Hopper and Dana Kadwell. You are each at the helm of C&D Events. We're going to talk about now, it's midway through 2021, the state of live events. This is very exciting. As we were talking beforehand, like I'm looking at my calendar, I've got 4 events already planned. Like I'm traveling, I'm getting out of Dodge, I'm going places, seeing people, hopefully going to add a 5th event as well. It is, for me, it's like, the steam, kind of letting off the steam and kind of get reconnected with friends I haven't seen now in a couple of years, and I get to see family. So this is exciting. Well, congratulations to you. Again, I'm sure this has been an unusual past year and a half for you guys.
Yes.
It has been weird.
Weird and hard and trying for sure.
Yeah. So what did you do to weather the storm? Because you're not alone. There are a lot of folks. I mean, if they're not in the event space, like they're dependent upon events to grow their business. They, maybe they're used to, presenting or having booths or just networking at events. Tell me what happened. Tell me the story of the past, 2020, through where we are today.
Well, yeah, we really, I feel like it was hotels was like the first indicator. Like we have a lot of friends in that hotel space and whatnot, colleagues, and we were actually at a big networking event in March, and they were talking about the coronavirus, and these hotels are like, all these people are like canceling their events, and we're like, why? Like we haven't had any cancellations. Like, have you been getting calls and cancellations? Like millions of dollars of business just like flying off their books, like every day. Like, it hasn't really hit us. Everyone's going to have a wedding. Like no one's going to cancel their wedding. Like it
no one would
makes
do
sense to
that.
cancel your corporate function, but not a wedding. Like we'd already been through like the 2008, 2009 recession. And we figured weddings were recession proof, right? That they never let up. So I thought for sure they were COVID proof too. And it actually proved to be not the case. So
no, it was definitely a shock. And I think that for us, I'm really proud of how we handled it and weathered it. And I think a lot of it came with being flexible. Like in the very beginning, we had a policy. This is how you move. This is how you move your event. This is what you can do. And then that evolved as the virus evolved, as our business evolved. And really at the very beginning, we had to have that conversation that it's very emotional, right? Like it's hard. It's hard being home. Everyone has been affected by this. And so when you're hearing this story from a client and, you want to be emotional with them and you wanted to say like, just, it's fine. Like cancel, like it'll be fine, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And so you had to take a little bit of that emotion out and say, am I making a solid business decision? Am I going to see 2021? If I continue to go down this path where I am, getting into that emotional roller coaster with that client, my doors aren't going to be open in 2021. Yeah. So what do I have to do where I can be a compassionate human, where I can be fair and honest, I can honor my contract, but I also can make sure that I'm not losing my employees and we're not closing the doors.
Right, because you can't just serve that one client and disregard your other hundreds of clients, because you could really make bad decisions and not be open for anybody, right? Then you're going through bankruptcy proceedings, which lots of venues and caterers in our area are doing that.
Yeah. So it's really hard, and it took a lot of really hard conversations, a lot of talks to our lawyer, our accountant, to make those solid decisions. And I felt like we made it really well. We're having one of the best years we have ever had. I mean, huge rebound, easily crossing into the 7 figures this year,
Wow. Well, congratulations.
All the work that we did. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you say, tell me about what you do then as an events business.
So we, our kind of origin story a little bit is we started our event planning business, C&D Events, in 2006 as a way to do market research for opening a venue. At the time, we couldn't find a venue that wasn't a hotel, that was air conditioned and large enough to house like the guest count of a 22-year-old. Because, as you get older, your guest counts get smaller and smaller. Right. So we just couldn't find anything like that in the area. We saw that need. And we're like, well, we don't really know much about weddings beyond planning our own. So let's become wedding planners, right? And so that was our market research. We did our first paid gig. We advertised on Craigslist for $250. It was 24 hours of backbreaking work, like 2 hours from where we are. It was not worth it. But it definitely like started that event planning journey. So C&D Events grew and grew and grew. And then in 2011, I believe, a piece of property became available and we just reprised that venue dream, right? We're like, this looks like it could be a good opportunity. This is our OG like cause purpose was the venue. So we went ahead and did all the perk testing and rezoning and all of that. And we built in 2013, opened in 2014, the Bradford. So we have C&D Events, we have the Bradford, and then we also do our speaking and consulting just on general business, team building, et cetera, with Hustle and Gather. So we were keeping all three balls in the air during that 2020, 2021 time.
Yeah. And just so some perspective, like C&D Events does about 100 events a year. The Bradford does anywhere between 100 and 120 events a year.
Incredible.
So we're talking about hundreds of people
and weddings. So these are like high stakes, high emotion events. You know, this isn't like, your corporate party. These are like what people consider the most important day of their life.
And it is up to that point.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you guys are sisters, right? Because I see, like, I noticed you have the eyes, or you have very similar eyes.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so how did that, going into business with a sister, like that was a consideration? Like, we're not going to like be fighting a lot, are we?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Stress, something like a wedding where things go wrong. I mean, that's just, by the way, is there always at least one thing that like something it's like suboptimal or some consideration? Oh, the fish arrived late, or, something is cold or whatever, right? Something that
inevitably
so little control over.
Yeah, I feel like I think we each can count on one hand what I would consider an absolutely perfect event, where nothing was late, nothing was wrong. But I mean, you're talking about minor things, like maybe the cake was 30 minutes late or 45 minutes late or something, or there was some level of stress that, you absorbed and handled from the client. There's always something because you're dealing, someone talked about when it's like a play, a production, right? You have all these different actors, all these different vendors that are coming together, and it's a live production, right? There's no do-overs. There's no commercial breaks. There's no editing. It just is what it is. And so you're gearing up and you're ready for this one culminating 4 hours, and inevitably something happens, always. But our job is to make sure no one knows about it. Like, it was a miracle. Everything was perfect on the other side of the curtain.
Someone
don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah. Someone trying to do this on their own without an event planner. So I look at the event planners as having a lot of experience and wisdom. Like they've seen everything if they've been doing this a while. And so they know the considerations for everything. Whereas someone that's not experienced and hasn't seen those things go bad, like you want to work with someone who has made all the mistakes and has seen all of the possible things that can go wrong, because they'll know how to plan for that, or they have that muscle memory because they know what to do in the moment when that thing happens. It rains and it said it wasn't supposed to rain.
Yeah. Welcome to North Carolina.
I know.
Yeah, right.
During wedding season.
It's like, call it weather ADD. You never know.
Yeah. I think I call it weather bipolar disorder.
That's
like
better.
any given moment, like up, down, up, down. I think that when you're hiring a professional, especially someone that's been in the industry for so long, you're hiring them, yes, for their expertise and because of what could go wrong, not what could go right, but also you're hiring them for like their Rolodex, so to speak. It's all the relationships and all of the like back and forth and the favors. Like if something goes wrong, like we can call any number of people and fix it like that, because we've sent them so much business and they sent us so much business and we have this long relationship. So it's a very relational profession as well, like in our industry. And I think that is definitely the benefit to hiring a planner that's unique to that area and it's been around for a minute. So
which I think it's just a great philosophy, no matter what industry you're in, right? Like a professional it's same thing. They have that Rolodex, they have that experience, have that muscle memory. It's not just when you're talking about the wedding industry, but like it's when you're trying to rewire your kitchen, like It's when you're trying, like really anything, you want to hire that professional. And even into the business world, when you're talking about, I want to grow my team, I want to learn how to do something, it's worth the money to hire that professional to either coach or consult or train, because it's going to create such a better end product and a better experience. It doesn't mean you couldn't get there, but maybe it'll take you longer to get there. Whereas if you hire this professional, it's going to be an easier and a less stressful path to get where you want to go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if you are the CEO or you're you're in charge, like the company has designated you to put on this event. I'm thinking like corporate events now. And everyone's going to have responsibilities. I mean, if you're the CEO, you're going to have stuff to do. You do not want to be handling logistics during that day, especially you're going to be on stage. You've got things. My gosh. I mean, it's the ROI from a really, really competent event planner. I mean, could just make all the difference. I mean, especially, oh my goodness, you've seen like horror stories on social media, because let's say you're a company and you have an event and it just goes bad, right? There's no living that down. It will get out on social media, and now you're dealing with like all this investment you made that's now a net negative because you have such a bad experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so true. Yeah. I mean, live events, like I said, there's just no do-overs, and you have to nail it the first time, every time. So I definitely think that, and I feel like that was a part of the hard part about COVID is people get married to this idea that it has to be this date and this time of the year, and
what they've been planning for a year. I mean, there's weddings that we canceled the week of their wedding. Like we had them first or second or third week in March weddings, and we're like, on Monday it was a go, and by Wednesday it was a no-go, and like having to walk people through the emotion of that, and then get to the practical side of that you're also talking about businesses, and like the word like force majeure becomes like an and a the, like you're using that in like every conversation. You're like, that's what the contract you signed, and trying to rely on those. But like definitely balancing that compassion level with the business level was certainly trying.
Yeah.
How do you not get rattled anymore? Or maybe you do, right? And that's just comes with the job. But like, if you have someone that like, this is obviously, this is everything to them. And it's like how do you manage your emotions when you're dealing with maybe some high stress situations?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's not about me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the easiest thing no matter what, like really, it's not about me. Like this is a very emotional day, and whatever is happening is maybe because they are sad that their mom couldn't be here, or maybe they're upset because they had a fight with their best friend, their maid of honor, or whatever the reason may be. You are a very safe place to take out that emotional energy on. And 99% of the time, it has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my job or what I have done, but they just need a safe place to throw that emotion at. And so, certainly I'm a human. So like it does rattle me, but I can take a moment, I can take a deep breath, I can step away, and I can say, how can I solve this for you? You're upset that the color napkin that you thought was supposed to be ivory is too yellow, right? Even though we proofed it, even though we looked at all that stuff, I'm going to call the rental company. I'm going to see if they have some backup white linen napkins on order or that we can get, and I can pick up on time. Whatever the reason is, whatever that stress point is to them that they feel like they need resolved, I'm going to try to resolve. But it's not about me. It's just about, something else that I don't always know about.
And I think that I think one of the questions directed a little bit concerning like 2020, 2021 and reschedules, and like how we handled that and the emotional component of that piece. I think it was super helpful in that time to have a partnership, because you could always rely on your partner or defer to your partner, even if you're having a one-on-one conversation. Like, I can't make that decision. I need to speak to my partner. And I think you can use that tool even if you don't have a partner. You could say like, I need to talk to my business partner. And that could be, your mom, or that could be your best friend, or that could be an advisor that's going to help you walk through that. But I think what's really important in those moments is that you hear the client, you acknowledge that stress point, but you don't have to make a decision, right? In that emotional space. You can defer, say, I need to refer to XYZ and I will get back to you within this amount of time. And I've noticed that a lot of times, like there was many times where like we had a client that was like, I want a refund, right? I can't have the wedding that I want. I don't know if we're going to reschedule. I want a refund. obviously we were not in the position to refund everybody their deposit because we wouldn't be able to operate. There's an opportunity cost when you put down a deposit that's, a little risky, right? We just don't think about it because we've never experienced a pandemic. It was unprecedented. So I think people didn't really think those ways, but kind of talking them through, I'm going to refer back to my partner. I'm going to get back to you in 24 hours. Here's what I can refund you. Like maybe it's the cost of the day. And people who I thought would like balk at that, like it cost me about $650 to run your day. So that's what I'm willing to refund you at this point. They're like, that seems fair. Like, thank you for thinking about that. I'll take that. And I was like, okay, great. Like, wow, that is much less than a call with my attorney, right?
Yeah.
And so like just thinking through those things and like taking the time, getting out of the emotional space before responding with a definite decision, I think is super helpful.
Yes. One thing I've learned too, I remember I was going to have a difficult call and my wife's a marriage and family therapist. She goes, listen, address the emotion first, right? Acknowledge, address the emotion first. Because then when people feel validated for like, listen, and empathize with them, then it's like, okay, I feel listened to, I feel heard. Now let's go ahead and talk about, the practical, like, hey, here's what we should probably do. Like, I find that usually helps with those sorts of situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't have to be exactly what they asked for. They just have to know that you're thinking about it,
right?
And that you're coming to a compromise or considering their position.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is just like one of the things too, that we said is just, we're going to be transparent with you on this phone call. Like, we're going to be transparent. This is why we are making this decision. This is what your money is. Cause people just didn't understand. They just thought like, well, I'm not having my wedding, therefore I should get all my money back. I was like, you've had like 200 emails and I had pay somebody to run this. We had to have landscaping be perfect. We have all of these things that we have to do that cost money on a daily basis.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a great conversation. So your website, C&D Events.com. So folks that are listening from all over the country, while this has been valuable to kind of learn from your experiences and so forth, is what should they know? I mean, do you only work with people in the area, in the Tri-City, or is it, what's it called?
Triangle. It's called the Triangle.
Triangle. That's what it is.
Close.
Yes. Raleigh, Durham. So all of your clients are pretty much just in the Triangle area?
We go all over. We travel all over. So we love new opportunities, learning new things. We also do team training because we believe that the core of a great business is your team. Like, we live and die by our team. And we talk a lot about training on how to be a motivational leader on the management level. And then also as a team, how to learn how to communicate with each other, how to show gratitude. So we go all over for that as well. So
how to produce a culture of retention,
yes,
which we think is so important. And we have a podcast called Hustle and Gather that talks about other entrepreneurs, origin stories, and how they got to where they're at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so go to hustleandgather.com. You can see the podcast. Look at that. Look at all these episodes. Very, very, very cool. Hustleandgather.com. Well, this is great. Well, Courtney and Dana, thank you so much for joining us again. Hustle and Gather, the podcast. However you're listening to this show, just search it up. It'll pop right up, I'm sure.
You can find it.
Yeah. Well, Courtney and Dana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.